66, I believe we are on this here today. Yep, 66. And this being the very first Monday of 2015. Seems like it's been, last year since I saw you guys. Love that joke. Never gets old. Anyway, no, brand new year, 2015. This is the first Monday, the first real full week of 2015. And, hopefully you guys that have been following along did indeed put a serious evaluation upon your business last year with the graphs, the graphing, the charting and graphing of your income, your earnings, and the charting, graphing, and evaluating of all of the tasks and time that you've spent upon each task in your business last year. And I'm just going to round that out a little bit here today. But first of all, I want to welcome John, who's been a little bit MIA in the past couple of weeks, but good to see your face back again, John.
Yeah, you know what? I'm excited to be back here on these Hangouts. I took the last 2 weeks kind of off here. I had a wedding, and I had been in Vegas for a while, and then I just decided that, hey, I was going to take some downtime this between Christmas and New Year's to really reflect on 2014, really look over what my goals were that I had set out at the beginning of last year, evaluate where I was, and then kind of get myself mentally prepared and set for making 2015 the biggest year for not only my life, but for the life of my business that I have here with Paul, the Property Noodlers. And I'm really excited to be back with you, Paul, in these Hangouts, especially going into my favorite day of the week, the first day, the start of the week, my favorite part of the month, my favorite part of the quarter, and my favorite part of a year. Right at the beginning, we can do, we could do a lot. We've got a whole year ahead of us here, and I'm just really excited. It's the New Year's, and glad to be back and get caught up to speed on this, what you've been talking about the last couple Hangouts, and finally getting to the culmination of all your thoughts over the last several weeks.
Hey, I just had a great thought. You've been talking about for a long time a couple of words that you really don't like in the English language. One of them being Monday. New name and I got a New Op Day, New Opportunity Day. Welcome, Happy New Op Day.
I like that. And you know what? There's another word. Speaking of those that I really don't like, it's the word week. It's the start of the week on a Monday. Good morning. I mean, those are some of the things that I don't like. So let's call it a week could be a new op. It's New Op Day on this new op. So I don't know, but rather than saying good morning, say good new op.
We're thinking something for that, but from here on out, you will not hear us say, it's Monday anymore. From now on, it's going to be New Op Day.
I'm going to make a note of that, Paul, and I'm going to make sure I don't hear the word Monday come out of your mouth ever again, especially on a Hangout.
Well, you know what? Just like we talked about on our other Hangout here for our network marketing business, we talked about hearing information, feeding our minds with information, and oftentimes feeding the same information, because repetition is how you learn anything. And you know what? We're going to have to make a little bit of it, because I'm sure it's going to take a little bit of repetition to get New Op replacing that other word.
Happy New Op, everybody.
All right, so I just wanted to kind of round out where we went with, and I don't know that John really kind of had a chance to see any of this, but we went through, the whole idea of my cards are all out of order. I just traveled yesterday. Obviously, you guys remember I was up at home in Lake Tahoe, so my cards are all out of order, so it really makes no sense here. But here we go. We talked about creating the chart of your income. with the days of the picking the day of the week that you want your week to end on, either Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, whatever's comfortable for you. New op day is obviously the beginning of every new week, of every new session. I don't know, whatever we want to call it. And then, of course, breaking it down by month and putting the date, that ending date for each week, and then collecting up the total gross after tax and net incomes that you made for that, and then graphing it with either a gross or an after tax, one of the two. You don't have to do both because they're just going to parallel each other. But either a gross or an after tax, depending on whether you're an employee or you have a business, and then charting your net as well too, so you can kind of see where the ups and downs were of your earnings last year. And then of course we talked about having up this side of the chart, having these as a number that I set these at 500 increments, 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, because then you're going to keep a secondary graph with this line here that progressively goes up by adding each week. So you have a progressive scale going up so you can see where your earnings were. So you don't want to see any, obviously you don't want to see anything go down, you don't want to see anything go flat, because that means you lost money or didn't earn any money that week. So that's what we talked about in charting. So you can really see just by looking at this graph, wow, we did good, we did good. Oh, we had a little fall off here, but we came back strong. But then what happened here? Oh my God, things went to hell in a handbasket, right? So it gives you a really good, easy way to just look back and go, wow, what was going on here? What was going on here? What was bad? What was good? And then I talked about charting tasks. Thinking back on last year and making a list of everything that you spent at least like 5 or 10 minutes on, even if you did it only one time and spent 5 or 10 minutes on it, to make a whole list of everything that you spent time on that pertained to your earning money. And then writing down next to the task itself how much time you actually spent performing that task over the course of last year. As I said, 5 minutes maybe on one particular task, 157 hours on another task, but potentially, whatever it is. And writing each, and then coordinating all these tasks, onto a list in order from lowest to highest time spent. And then I talked about going through these different evaluations of these tasks. First of all was on a scale of 0 to 10, rating how much you enjoy doing this task. 0 being, I can't freaking stand spending 1 second doing this, and 10 or 9 obviously being, I could spend my whole life doing this. And then we talked about the next column being, to rate your ability in this task, in how good are you at actually doing it. With 0 being, I am the worst person on the planet to do this, and with 10 being, hey, I'm the ace, I'm the one people should come to. And then we talked about adding those two up and creating a me score, which generates, your combined total of how these, and then out of a potential. Actually, you know what? I just realized something. There's actually only a potential, no, 0 through 10. Okay, there is 20. 0 through 10, and so there's actually a potential 20 points there, and showing how, anything that's in double digits is, hey, these things aren't in bad shape right now, but anything that's in single digits are things that you really need to look at going, wow, either I really don't like it, or I'm really lousy at it, or a combination of both, and these are areas that need, a lot of focus right away. And then I talked about adding in another column after that and rating each task's importance to your business, and then adding that total to your me score and coming up with a task score. And now this increases the number to 30 potential points. And so we talked about how anything in the 20s is, areas of strength for your business and yourself. Anything in the teens are, areas that need potential attention, and that everything that is still in the single digits are urgent red flag. These things need to be getting off the plate immediately. I took it a little bit further after that, and then I asked you to go back to your ability, and now where you had, rated yourself as to how good you perform this task, I asked you to now reevaluate that and reevaluate yourself as if, okay, if I was to hire a professional to come in here and perform this task in my place, how do I stack up? How does my ability in this task stack up against a professional who could come in here and do it? And I'm sure that some of your numbers possibly changed. Some maybe stayed the same, some maybe got a little higher, some maybe dropped off, some maybe dropped off considerably. And that, of course, would obviously change your scores a little bit. And then I asked, then we talked about taking the importance column that you were rating each task in its importance to your business and refining that to its importance in your actual earning money. In other words, when you're actually spending your time performing this task, how important is it towards earning a dollar? And so that, again, I think could potentially drastically change. So then we ask you to add up, your new ability column, your new importance column, and combine that with the, enjoyment column, and come up with new task scores, which really, I think, will help you to really focus upon, the stuff that's in the 20s now, obviously, are areas of strength. The stuff in the teens, obviously, areas where, hey, this is where, there's probably going to be some things that we need to look at, some things that we need to think about maybe getting rid of, some things that need to be enhanced, things like that. This is the area where the most work's going to happen in your business. And then, of course, anything that's still left down in the single digits are the red flag. Got to get rid of these, have to outsource, hire out. Whatever the case is, these things need to be taken off your plate. And the fact that the reason why these things need to be taken off your plate is because of your ability and your enjoyment level of these tasks. And that being that, either if your ability level is low and you suck at this task, you're wasting a lot of time getting it done because you're not good at it. It's too hard for you. It takes too much time. It's taking away time that you could be putting into another area that is pertaining directly to your earning money. And the second thing is your enjoyment level. If your enjoyment is low, if it's a task you really can't stand doing, well, that's creating frustration and disdain for your business as a whole, and it's making you an unhappy person. And that in and of itself is going to detract away from your time. You're going to put things off. It's going to take longer. It's going to cause wasted time. So getting things that you do not like to do and getting things that you suck at doing off your plate, first and foremost, going into 2015, are immediately going to show great results in your ability to earn money coming into the next year. So just doing those two things, getting those two things off your plate, and then each and every time you take one of those things off your plate, right? Okay, you look at your list here and you go, you know what? I spent 15 hours last year doing that task, and now I don't have to do that anymore. So I've got 15 hours. Where can I look over here into the teens column maybe, or maybe even into the 20s column? If the 20s column is what really, really earns you a lot of money, maybe you want to put those 15 hours up towards that and make that even better. But maybe you want to go to the teens column and say, you know what, if this was to get a little bit better and I put 15 more hours into this next year, then that will help earn more money as well too. So it gives you free time that you can repurpose into money-making areas for your business. So that's kind of what we went through coming out of 2014. I hope you guys have done that. If you haven't done that, go back and do it, because you know what? This will really, really help you focus. And then I talked about taking these tasks and looking back on the graph. And you can go back and you can go to right here and you can look at this big drop and you can say, okay, what was I doing during this period of time? And you can look at all these tasks and you can say, during that period of time, I spent a lot of time doing this, 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 and this. And then when you look back and you look at your graphs, you might find that all those things that when it fell off were in your single-digit columns. And you might realize, hey, there's a pattern here. Whenever I'm focusing my time in these wasted time areas, things go to hell in a handbasket. And so that needs to be taken care of. And you might find that, hey, you know what, when I'm performing these certain tasks over here, that's when we really accelerate this business. So this will really help you narrow in the focus on what's good and what's wrong with your business and how to be able to change it. And same thing, even if, I talked about if you're an employee. This will help you as an employee as well too within your job, help you realize where the areas are that are killing your potential for earning more money in your job, and the areas that are where if you spend a little more time in these areas could potentially lead to advancement and raises. So that's where we were. John, catch you up with that. So your thoughts on this before I kind of do a little round out on it.
It's imperative and absolutely essential, I think, to do what Paul outlined right there. And actually, I might even take it a step further, Paul, and say, not only look back over the last year and chart these tasks and rate them the way Paul suggested, but make this a kind of an ongoing thing, because this is something I'm actually doing this year, which I'm really glad you brought this up today, Paul, because it's right what I was actually masterminding with for 40 minutes this morning with a partner of mine in my paint business, was about, time management, maximizing your productivity versus the busy work that can be outsourced or subbed out to other people. Is throughout this year, I think Paul's concept here and what he outlined shouldn't be a one-time thing. I think it should be an ongoing thing where each day, if you take a few minutes at the end of, take the time, do what Paul suggested, but take maybe a few minutes each day at the end of the day and reflect on the things you did that day, especially when it comes to your business or your job or whatever you're doing to be financially, for your finances, and make that list and rate those tasks. And as Paul said, begin to outsource and eliminate the ones that you score very low on, and the ones you're really high that you enjoy doing and you're really good at. Manage and focus your time to devote more to those, because the tasks that you're good at are the ones that are most likely going to grow your business the fastest. The ones that you dread, you're not good at, you're just kind of throwing a monkey wrench into your business by continuing to do those things. There's a quote: if you're the main, what do they say? If you're the main cog in your business, then you're the main clog in your business. And you've got to learn to separate yourself, and look at your business and your life in general, as an independent, third party, objective third party, and then rate yourself, and then adjust your time accordingly so that you can be spending time doing what you like and what you're best at. And it'll change all the areas of your life. Even if you're an employee, I like what Paul said there, because become a more efficient employee, and you can make more money. You can be better at your job. You can get a raise. I think what Paul outlined here is absolutely essential to success, and something to really do moving forward into 2015. We're at the beginning of the year here. Is get in the habit of doing this outline.
Funny you should take that. That's where my closing was going to go. Yeah, just real quickly, I just wanted to talk about how, when you go back, before I go forward here, when you go back and you're looking at your graph and you're seeing where your highs and lows were, and you're comparing the tasks that you performed during that time, it's not an easy thing to do. You're looking back, a freaking year ago. You're not going to remember exactly what you were doing at those times. That's the difficult thing, all right? But you can get a general idea here of what was happening during those times, and this will start, again, this is all just about, right now, it's all about honing in. What John just said in moving forward and tracking this as you go along in 2015, that is the key to this whole system that I'm talking about here, because as you go into 2015, if you create this graph right here with no lines on it and you have it all lined out, well, you know what? The end of the first week is this Friday, and you're going to have a number on here where you're going to draw your first line to see how much income you generated in this very first week of 2015. And depending on where that line is, you can then look back. And I like, John, you brought up a point that I hadn't actually thought of. A very good additional key would be to, yes, at the end of each day, or maybe throughout the day. Maybe you just keep a log throughout the day of your time spent and what you're doing, so that at the end of each day you can actually tally up the amount of time you spent on specific tasks throughout the day, and then at the end of the week you can tally all those up, and then you can really look back, and you can look back on what your income was compared to the tasks and the time spent on them, and you can really evaluate it. You can really start honing in. And the best thing about it now is when you look back on this for the whole year, you're going to go back and you're going to see, oh, well, there was highs and lows and highs and lows, and what happened here and what happened there, et cetera, and so on. But going into 2015, if you keep up on this every week, you know what? If you had a high and all of a sudden you had this big old fall off right here, you can go, holy cow, what just happened? Not what happened last year. What just happened in this past week that caused this extreme fall? What just happened in this last week that we exploded? We got to do more of that. You know what I mean? So that's where, that's exactly where I was taking this, John, in rounding this whole thing out. Was going into 2015. It's imperative to look back on this for 2014. It's not going to be an easy thing, and you're not going to get specific numbers, but try your best, and that's just going to help you narrow the focus right now. Basically bring everything and put it on your radar screen. It's still going to be all scattered about, but it's all going to be on your screen by looking back. Now, moving forward, you can take that radar screen and you can start focusing in on the trouble areas and the hot areas, and what's good for you and your business or your job, and what's not good for you and your business and your job. And you can catch it only 7 days after it happened instead of 12, 8, however many months ago after it happened. And that's really going to help you moving through 2015 to grow your business or to advance yourself in your job. And that's where I wanted to point out. When you look back on last year and you start seeing the patterns of when things were good and when things were bad, and your relation to what you were doing during those times, you're going to find one thing. You're going to find one reoccurring thing that shows up very, very prominently. And the fact of the matter is that everything that happened, everything that caused you to earn more or less money, is absolutely 100% your fault. And your fault only. There's no outside circumstances that had any impact on that whatsoever. 100% you, because of the way that you think with what's up here and what you decided to do, etc., and so on. So, once you realize that it's all on you, then you can start making the changes that are going to take you to the promised land. So that's all I got for today, John. That's rounding us up. I'm going to let you finish out with some thoughts on this and take us out of here.
Absolutely. I just want to expand on the final thing that you did say, and that's you only have yourself to blame. The problem, I think, for most people that don't achieve any form of success in their lives, people that are unhappy with their lives, they all kind of have a common denominator, and that's the fact that they have a victim mentality and they blame the outside world for their problems. If you don't like your job, you blame your boss. You blame the economy. You blame the whoever's in office. You blame the president. What good is blaming all these external forces doing? All it's doing is setting a negative mindset and causing you to focus outside of yourself on things that you shouldn't be focusing on. You know what? You should focus on what you can do to make your situation better. And if you can shift your mindset from always looking for an external force to blame, or always in the habit of making an excuse for why you failed to do something or why something didn't go your way, and then look for what maybe you did to cause those things, well, you'll live a much more happier, fulfilled, successful life that way. I just want to round this out by saying that what Paul presented over the last couple hangouts with this system, I think is a fantastic, important tool. Like you said, 2014, to sit back now and review the whole year in your mind, it's going to be difficult, but it'll help get you thinking about these things and get in the habit of spending just a few minutes of each day reflecting on what you actually did that day, so that you can chart out, if you will, or be able to map out or just even take a look at what you're actually doing and what that's producing for you, and begin focusing on the tasks that produce the most joy and the most money in your life. You know, we have time is extremely precious, so we want to make sure that, you know, it's important. I think step one is to make sure, even more important than money, time, is to make sure you're spending your time wisely. In fact, you're not spending any time doing anything. You're investing your time. Time should be an investment. You should never look and say, "Oh man, I spent all this time on that." If you feel like you're spending time, you're not doing the right thing with your time. Time is an investment, and it's very important to have a clear understanding of what you're doing with it and what is beneficial and what is not. And when it comes to your business, and I'm really excited about 2015, and I'm really excited to move forward and get into some of these concepts this year. But one of the things I'd like to focus on this year, Paul, on these Hangouts, one of the concepts is how to take certain parts of your business, just as you said, that you rate low on, or ones that maybe you do enjoy it, but it doesn't produce a strong enough income. Maybe you could start to look to replace yourself. Duplication, leverage, duplicate yourself, outsource those things so that you can devote your time to doing the important thing, which is being a productive in your business. So with that, unless Paul wants to throw something else in, I was going to go ahead and just end us with the Napoleon Hill prayer.
Just one quick statement. I want to say two things. That yeah, if you're spending time, you're wasting time, and we don't have time to waste in this world. I mean, why? There's plenty of great things we can be doing. Why waste time? Anyway, that, and if you do, you know, if this is the first time you saw what we're presenting here, and you're interested in that, over the past, starting with number 60, I believe, on these Hangouts, is where I began going through the outline of all that. So if you want to go back and look at the past 5 or 6 Hangouts, the 5 or 6 video trainings here, that'll give you a more slower, in-depth process, you know, outline of what the process is, and how to put all that together. So I just wanted to throw that in there, that's available online, obviously, to look at that and go back and see in slow motion, opposed to how I rambled through it today, exactly how to put that all together and really get a good picture of how it really does help you focus in on the problem areas and the strong areas. So that's it, John.
All right, well, O universe, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom with which to make better use of the riches given to me at birth, through the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever ends I may desire. Let's go out there and make it a great new op day, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
All right.